Every musical group has a backstory for each of their hits. The Gallagher brothers are therefore well equipped to handle rock feuds. Their road wasn't easy, ranging from making classic songs together to starting intense rivalry and friction. There was more to their time in Oasis than just music. It had swiftly devolved into an unrelenting conflict between two opposing egos. With Liam as the erratic frontman and Noel as the methodical songwriter, the two produced hits like Wonderwall and Don't Look Back in Anger to the World. But the great Oasis would end because of their relationship, which was a ticking time bomb. Liam Gallagher finally explains the reasons behind the Oasis's dissolution, primarily placing the blame on his brother Noel. The brothers' early years were tumultuous. They were raised in a working-class household in Manchester, and turned to music as a way to cope with their difficult circumstances, especially the abuse they endured at the hands of their father. As the band dynamics developed in their adult years, this didn't do much to ease the conflicts between their disparate personalities, even though it might have helped them unite somewhat in their early years. According to numerous theories about medieval tragedies, their conflicts were typically very serious, yet occasionally amusing. The primary songwriter for Oasis was Noel, who was the elder of the two. He created a lot of the band's distinctive sound by fusing anthemic choruses with gritty rock. The band's leader, Liam, on the other hand, enthralled crowds with his unvarnished vocals and unique stage persona. Although they were a formidable force when combined, the soldiers frequently faced off against one another rather than alongside one another. Oasis made their debut with a distinctive sound and demeanor in the early 1990s. The Britpop movement may have benefited greatly from their debut album, What's the Story?, the album they released after that. Later, Morning Glory solidified their status as legendary. It featured numerous classics, such as Wonderwall and Champagne Supernova. All of a sudden, Oasis was incredibly popular, and some fans even compared them to the Beatles in terms of their cultural impact and influence. However, the Gallagher brothers' relationship was rapidly deteriorating as the band was enjoying this enormous success. They often argued during recording sessions, concerts, and interviews. These episodes were initially merely perceived as a component of the band's rebellious persona, but it quickly became apparent that they were part of something more significant. Tensions were exacerbated by Liam's impetuous, combative, and occasionally reckless actions, which also strained relations with the more rigid Noel, who wanted to dictate the band's artistic path. When Oasis was recording their third album, Be Here Now, in 1997, the first real indication of turmoil appeared. The group was under a lot of pressure to produce another hit, because they were riding high on the popularity of their previous albums. It was getting harder for Noel to keep any semblance of discipline by this point, because of Liam's drinking and careless actions. As a result, the brothers' ongoing arguments dragged down the album's creation, and even though it was a huge hit, it was now obvious that the band was not as cohesive as it was, and might never be a true unit again. In retrospect, the older brother described the album as an extravagant endeavor. Both fans and critics concur that although the album sold over 1 billion copies and was commercially successful, it lacked the enchantment of their previous releases. It's possible that the stress from the brothers' frequent disagreements had a negative effect. The cricket bat incident, the MTV Unplugged, and numerous other tour mishaps are examples of early instability. The first one happened while their second album, which was a huge hit, was being recorded. Noel was trying to work when Liam brought a group of people back to the studio. According to reports, Noel used a handy cricket bat to strike his brother over the head in response to this disturbance. A little too much, isn't it? The later instances include Liam skipping live concerts and tours and abruptly canceling owing to declining health and voice. The fact that Noel questioned the veracity of Liam's excuse only made these worse. During their 2000 European tour, Noel attacked Liam and quit the band when Liam questioned the authenticity of the former's daughter, which was another major argument that demonstrated how badly they were against one another. They collaborated and played in the same band in spite of all of these disagreements. It was surprising how long they stuck with the status quo. The distance between the Gallaghers was not greatly reduced by their later albums, Standing on the Shoulder of Giants and Heathen Chemistry, released in the early 2000s. Even while Oasis was still very successful, their music had made it obvious that the brothers were becoming more and more estranged from one another. As a result, the band's internal strife started to eclipse their creative output. In 2009, the Gallagher brothers' animosity reached a breaking point. The media and fans were free to examine and critique all of those instances, particularly the things they said about one another in interviews. By this time, their argument was more important than the band. Just before a performance in Paris in August of that year, the last straw was reached. Various reports state that the brothers got into a violent argument backstage. By the conclusion of the evening, Noel had determined that he could no longer play with the band, which he later described as the result of years of accumulated animosity. He made his final exit, permanently abandoning the band and the show. Oasis formally broke up following that fatal evening. Although many were devastated, many believed that the breakup was unavoidable. The same people who had shaped a period of British music had destroyed the band that had once typified it. Even after years of working on their music independently, the two were still questioned about the Oasis. Liam and Noel have since discussed the reasons for their breakup in great detail. At first, the two brothers blamed each other. Noel was accused by Liam of being self-centered for leaving the band to pursue a solo career. Liam claims that his brother had always hoped to go it alone, and he seized the chance when it came up, destroying Oasis in the process. Liam insisted for years that the band was ruined by Noel's decision to leave. He claimed in interviews that his brother's actions appeared to put his personal interests ahead of their band's legacy, which infuriated and frustrated him. Liam even went so far as to label Noel's departure a betrayal, implying that if Noel had been prepared to make concessions, the band could have resolved their differences. Liam has consistently maintained his conviction that Noel was the primary cause of Oasis's dissolution. He describes his brother's departure as an act of betrayal, which he still finds inexcusable, and claims that it was due to a lack of dedication to the band, rather than merely creative disagreements. It was clear that Noel had opposed to this opinion. He has always batted down the notion that the split was entirely his fault, even though he has admitted the challenges of working with his brother. Noel claimed that the continuous argument with Liam had gotten intolerable, and that the band could no longer function. He declared that he could not continue working with Liam for another day, as he was permanently departing the group. According to him, his brother was an aggressive and disruptive presence that made recording and touring a never-ending struggle. Noel has also implied that the brothers' years-long animosity toward one another contributed to Oasis's eventual demise. He has talked about feeling more and more alone in the band, and frequently taking the brunt of Liam's erratic actions. Noel has implied in interviews that his decision to leave the band was motivated by self-preservation, as much as personal grievances. He believed that Oasis had turned into a poisonous place, and that the only way to keep his sanity and safeguard his career was to leave. He claimed that life would be simpler without Oasis. The argument between critics and fans has been rekindled by Liam's recent admission that Noel destroyed Oasis. Many have taken Liam's side, claiming that Noel's decision to leave was the height of treachery. Others have stood up for Noel, arguing that Liam had no choice but to depart because of his careless actions. It wouldn't be that simple to discover the truth. The struggle between the Gallagher brothers serves as a warning on the perils of combining personal and professional ties. The force that ultimately tore them apart was their sibling rivalry, which was also a major factor in what made Oasis so captivating. For Britpop and the band's millions of fans worldwide, Oasis's split signaled the end of an era. The music they produced, however, is still popular around the globe, in spite of the severe division. Even though their collaboration had many problems, the fact that their songs have endured as timeless anthems is evidence of its strength. Rumors of a reunion have surfaced recently. After giving a number of clues, the brothers officially announced their reunion. And now, 15 years after Oasis broke up, the Clashing brothers have validated fans' unrealistic hopes of a reunion tour. Liam did this by responding to a fan tweet that questioned whether it was real. What do you think then? Was Liam right to feel deceived, or was Noel's departure justified? Are you looking forward to the reunion? And after all these years, will it work out? Please leave a remark below with your ideas. We'd love to hear them.